Ava, welcome to the couch. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm doing fantastic. Right. So, we're going to talk about you today. We're going
Yep.
to talk about your journey through health and fitness,
Mm-hmm.
how you've got into it, how you've become a personal trainer, because you're still very new to it. So, I'm excited to kind of see what you have to say being new as a personal
Yeah.
trainer, because I'm like 10 years into it now.
Yeah.
I've got my own views,
Mm-hmm.
but you're like, you said 18 months, 2 years,
Yeah.
something into now. So, I'm very excited to hear your perspective on it, because you're doing so well at the point that you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And you've learned a lot in that time.
Yeah.
But I'm also excited just to see your overall views on it.
Yeah,
Should we
cool.
get into it?
Yeah, of course.
So, take us back to your earliest memories of like health and fitness.
Okay.
Like, where did that like start for you? How did you get into it?
So a lot of people in my family are still into like health and fitness. So my uncle did like Ironmans and triathlon, sorry, and all that kind of stuff. So growing up, I did see that, which is really cool, because then, you know, from a young age, I had an understanding of like, oh my god, there are these really cool competitions fitness wise that people do.
Yeah.
So that was really cool for me. But I never really found like a sport that I really got into. So my mum and my auntie used to professionally dance. So I tried dancing. I enjoyed that for a little bit, but it didn't stick. I boxed. I still box a little bit now. So I boxed on and off for like a fair few years, and I love that. But boxing, and like anyone that's into boxing will say the same thing, it's all consuming. Like your diet's got to be right. You've got to be training all the time, and it can kind of affect your confidence as well, because your body changes for how you're training, and you might not necessarily like how you look, but you still have to carry on because you know your performance is more important. So there was that, a lot of that, and then I got into the gym, and it's just something that really stuck. So that was like the thing for me that made me want to pursue it more in a career rather than just a hobby.
Okay. So, who introduced you to the gym? Or was that kind of seen around, was that like a supplement to like your dance and then boxing as you were doing it? There was a little bit of gym there as well?
Yeah, so with boxing, I kind of did a bit more gym because I wanted to be stronger, and then linking into the confidence side of things, I was like, well, I mean, when I was younger, that was kind of just when like the female education on gym kind of came out. Like it started to progress from, oh, you know, we don't want thigh gaps anymore, we want big strong legs, like so that was kind of like when I went into the gym. So I was like, right, okay, I want big glutes, I want big legs, how am I going to get that? Okay, I need to do weights, what do I need to do? That'll help with my boxing as well. So that's kind of how I went into it that way. That's where gym kind of came about.
Okay. Did you know people that were training that kind of took you in there, or you just took yourself in there?
No, I didn't really. I kind of went in by myself. I started when I was still in secondary school. I actually started at Coombe Dean Gym.
Yeah, it's going to be massive. We spoke about that before.
I think loads of people from like the Plymstock kind of area did the same thing.
Yeah.
But you went in and like you had no idea what you were doing. It's like, oh, these are some weights, I'm just going to move this a little bit. Like, oh, just right now, fuck it, who cares? Like you just went in and did it.
I love how many of us started at that gym.
So many people I know started at that gym.
Yeah, because I was there, and I had obviously a bunch of mates that I still train with now.
Yeah.
Sam was there,
Yeah.
and we all kind of just come over from that gym.
Yeah.
Just a little school gym at how it all starts.
Yeah, because that's like one of the only gyms that you can go to when you're like younger, isn't it?
14, 15.
14, 15.
Just, even though you're not meant to be in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what were your kind of early days in the gym like? Any clue what you're doing?
No, nothing. I had no idea. I knew what I wanted, I just had no idea how to get there. But I think for ages it was just trial and error, and then you end up educating yourself, and then you look into things a bit more, and then you kind of put yourself in situations around people that are more educated.
Yeah.
So you talk to people that are older, that have more gym experience, you ask questions, and you just like you kind of become a bit of a sponge, and you just take everything in and then just go off from there, I guess.
That is something I noticed with you. You are good at asking people the questions. You're not afraid
Yeah.
to ask the questions.
No,
You'll,
not at all.
You'll go in and find, if you know there's a gap in kind of your knowledge or something
Yeah.
like that, you will go and seek that out.
Yeah, of
and you're
course.
not like afraid to do that, which I
Yeah.
think more people should do that,
Yeah.
because they would actually get to where they wanted
Yeah.
to do faster, whether that's with, you know, health and fitness, businesses.
Yeah.
I know you do it for all those kind of things.
Yeah, of course.
So you mentioned the boxing
Yeah.
was weird on your confidence.
Yeah.
In what way?
So when you box, obviously it's really intense cardiovascularly.
Mm-hmm.
So loads of explosive power, loads of running, just quick on your toes. Like a lot of people aim to be fairly light. So in the sort of like time, I think, let's say about like 14 to 16, I was really skinny. And because I was boxing all the time as well, like I was just so super lean. But you kind of like, at that age, for me personally, as a female, it's kind of like, okay, so I want to look more womanly now. I don't want to look like a girl. But being as petite as I was, like I didn't think I had a very womanly or attractive figure because I was just so tiny.
Yeah.
And obviously women, naturally, you have more curves and stuff like that. And like I said, that's when it wasn't like, oh, we want thigh gaps anymore. It was like, we want to be strong.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like boxing was keeping me small. So my confidence was definitely taking a hit with that because I wanted... I wasn't doing the right things for the aesthetics that I wanted. So, yeah, I think that's how it linked in confidence-wise.
So when you talk about confidence personally for you, what does confidence mean to you? And like in the realms of like body image?
Okay. I don't know. I think it fluctuates so much because if you're ambitious, which I would like to say I am, like, you know, me a year ago would be like, right, I want my glutes to be this size, I want my legs to be this size, this is how I want to look. I could get to that point and then the goal's already moved on.
Yeah.
So I think confidence is quite a lucrative subject because it's always going to change.
So what was it previously stopping you from doing, if you feel then, if that's a better question? If you feel like you had a weird confidence of how you looked, was it stopping you from doing anything?
Yeah, definitely. So it would impact, like, obviously the certain like clothes that I would wear. Going to the beach felt really uncomfortable because I felt like, oh, I'm so skinny, I don't want to wear a bikini because obviously that's a lot of skin. And so I was like, oh, I don't really want to do that. Or I hate having photos taken. Hated it so much. Like, I would kick off royally. And obviously girls were like, come on, memories and stuff like that. I'm like, get the camera out of my face. And then how, I think sometimes it even affects like how you talk to people because you're not confident in yourself and you think, oh, I noticed this and this about myself. You think, oh my God, if I'm talking to people, they're going to pick up on these things too. So how I would approach people as well would definitely be impacted at that point.
And how was that on your mental health kind of at that point, at that kind of pivotal age of like 14 to 16, do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely put a lot of strain on my mental health because you're constantly fighting yourself in a way. Because if you're not confident, the things that you need to do to build that confidence you're not doing because you don't have the confidence there to start with.
Yeah.
So obviously if you're uncomfortable talking to new people, what you have to do is talk to new people and like repetitively do that until it's so almost mundane that you don't even think about the fact that you're talking to someone new anymore. But at that point I was like, oh, I don't want to talk to anyone because I'm thinking these things about myself in my head immediately, so when someone sees me they must immediately think the same. So
what kind of things were you thinking?
Just like
if you can put yourself back there.
Just more like how petite I was, like how skinny, and I really, really did not like how I looked, and I just thought that those were the things that people would immediately think, when in reality, like I would never, like even back then or even now, like I would never walk up to someone and talk to them and think, oh, they're really small, they're really big, they're this, like they're not. I'm just listening and looking at them and taking in the conversation.
Yeah.
But I was so in my own head that I didn't think even on the same wavelength of how I think about other people. We just thought about how I thought.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You were putting your kind of own views of yourself.
Yeah.
And you were projecting those kind of thoughts and feelings that you had into what you potentially thought was the thoughts and feelings of other people.
100%.
But now you know later down the line.
Yeah.
That was in your head.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Because I mean, you were at a point where you weren't enjoying like people taking photos of you, shying away from it. But I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct, that the other weekend you hired a photographer to come take some photos of you at the gym. You had you had a photo shoot.
Yeah, which is like, that was a massive thing for me because I am, even though I still film stuff and content and stuff like that, I am awkward in front of a camera because I'm aware of the fact that a camera is right there. So I'm just like, don't look at it.
Nice 4-inch tripod right there.
Yeah, it's like
4-foot tripod, sorry.
Yeah, literally. But I think me and Abby, we had a photographer. So we got loads of little snippets of content and stuff like that, and that was a big thing for both of us, to be fair, because like I said, I'm not actually as confident in front of a camera as I make out. But me, 3-4 years ago, would never. Like, I would literally scream, cry, tantrum. That camera is not going anywhere near me. So that was to be fair, that's quite a pivotal point, because I would never have done that beforehand.
What would you say the main things that have increased your confidence from then to where you are now?
Most of it is down to gym in one way or another, because obviously you actually develop your physique so you're more happy with how you look anyway. But also just like the lessons that it teaches you, like in the gym, like obviously when you start, a lot of people, myself included, you think, oh, people are looking at me, people are thinking I'm doing it wrong and all this kind of stuff. And then through training myself and being a coach, like you have light bulb moments where you're like, no one's looking at me. People are all just here to better themselves. So I think that was kind of like the main thing. Like gym has changed my mindset a lot. And the people I've met through gym, it's just a very positive influence in different avenues, I think.
Would you give any advice to your former self at like 16 if you could send them a text?
In terms of what?
The confidence and the way that, that version of Ava was feeling. Going into the gym, thinking people were looking at herself.
Yeah.
Or even people that, not even talking to your former self, but
Yeah.
people who are in that position.
I think, realise that you are in your own head. Like, actually try and take a step back out and think, like, look, do I think about other people this way? And 9 times out of 10, if you're, a good and kind person, the answer is no. You don't initially think all these negative things about other people, and realise that, well, if I'm not thinking these things, 9 times out of 10, other people aren't thinking that about me either.
Yeah.
And, if you come across someone who does think like that, they're not even worth valuing their opinion anyway. Like, that is someone that's so deep set in their own insecurities that they have to be pessimistic about other people, then you shouldn't want to value their opinion anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, take a step back out of your own head and realise that you don't think about other people that way, so they're probably not thinking about you that way. And just ask more questions. If you don't know, there's someone that does know. Like, we're, in the day and age that we are now, like, pretty much everything's been done. Like, there's so many things that have been done. Like, if you think of a marketing idea, guarantee someone's probably thought of it before. And that kind of shows that if it's been done, it can be done again. Like, you can do it. So ask people these questions. Those people have transformed their body in 101 ways. Someone will have done it. Ask them. And be more kind to yourself, because there is so many people in the world that are willing and happy to say a negative comment to make themselves feel better. Again, that's referring back to those people that you shouldn't value their opinions. Don't be one of them. Don't be one of the people that are being negative to yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's, a waste of your own energy and detrimental. So that's what I'd say.
That's good. That's good. So you obviously went from training Coomdene, and then you started at Lara. That's when you started training after that. Was it
I
after
started
lockdown?
at Derry's Cross first.
The gym group.
The gym group, yeah, because the Lara Bridge wasn't open at the time, and then I moved over as soon as we opened up. I've trained at other little gyms in between that, or even like sometimes I train at Body Wild or JD now, just for a change of scene. Yeah. But yeah, I went to Derry's Cross, and then I went over to our gym.
What was that like then, going from a little school gym where you pretty much knew everyone, they were all your age pretty much, to then going to a commercial gym, public gym?
Yeah.
Do you remember what that feeling was like?
Yeah, it was so intimidating, because obviously you've got the pods and stuff as well, and like, which sounds so trivial.
Oh my god, what's going on?
But I'm like, obviously you've got to walk up these stairs, and then you've got the pods, and I'm like, oh my god, I've got to put my pin in, how's the door going to work, is the door going to open, have I put my pin in right? And it's all like really trivial stuff that you're like, oh my fucking god, like, what if this goes wrong? Like, what if this pod locks and I can't ever get out? Like, that's never going to happen. Yeah. That's fine. So yeah, it was really intimidating, but then get through the pods, go to a changing room, put your stuff away, whatever. And then, I don't know about anyone who's gone to Derry's Cross, but obviously you've got the stairs that go up straight away. So you're like, oh my god. You feel like obviously this is not the case at all, but you feel like you're walking up the stairway and then everyone's going to turn and look at you. No one does. It's literally no one looks.
Single person reveal yourselves, like everyone's just going to look at you, like there's a light on you. Boom.
Literally, no one looks. Not a single person, but you're like, oh my god, everyone's staring at me. No one is. So yeah, it was really intimidating, but it's also so necessary to progress. Like, obviously, being in Coomdene Gym, there's only so much you can do there. So you do need to, move out of that small pond somewhere bigger so you can make more progress. So intimidating, but for a good reason.
Did it take you long to adapt to the new environment of going into there?
I don't think it took me too long. I think so obviously they have PTs there, and quite a lot of them at the time were friendly, so you end up seeing people and having familiar faces which make you feel more comfortable. But, you know, baggy jumpers and headphones for the first couple of weeks, and you build your confidence that way, because you kind of like put yourself in your own little bubble that you can break out of in your own time then.
Were you still in a period then when you were transitioning into that gym or started going to that gym where you were still second guessing yourself in the way you looked?
Oh yeah, 100%.
In what way at that point?
Yeah, again, just mostly like down to my legs have always been my biggest insecurity, like wanting bigger legs and bigger glutes. So that was a massive thing for me. Like, I would never wear shorts back then.
Yeah.
Like, I wear shorts all year round now. Like, I never not wear shorts. But back then it was always full length leggings. So yeah, definitely like still being a bit second guessing on like how I looked and stuff like that.
Where do you reckon that's from? The legs and glutes. Do you reckon is that parents? Is you having conversations? Is that friends? Is that people pointing it out? Or is it? Do you think that's just you looking at other people, looking back at yourself, kind of thing over the years?
I think a lot of it was looking at other people and then looking at myself. It wasn't really a parent thing, because like my mum's never really said anything about like wanting glutes or stuff like that. And she, like I said, she was a dancer, so she naturally had really athletic legs anyway. So yeah, I think a lot of it was kind of put on myself. And like I said, like that's when we were going into a bit of like a period where girls were wanting to have bigger glutes and bigger legs and stuff like that anyway. But yeah, I think it was mostly like in my own head, like I put those views onto myself.
Yeah.
Rather than anyone else.
Okay, so when you started weight training then,
yeah,
and you started seeing changes in your body, what do you remember noticing? Because I remember looking down one time and looked like I had a second kneecap because my quad had started growing.
Yeah.
Do you remember those kind of moments where you started, oh shit, fucking hell, my body's changing, putting on a bit of clothes and you're like, it's starting to fill out a little bit more? Do you remember those moments?
To be honest, no, I don't think I really do. For me, it's always been something in hindsight. Like, Karen going to the gym and then someone else be like, oh, you know, like, you're training really well. I'm like, oh, thank you. And then you look back on photos and you're like, oh my God, like, my legs are double the size. Like, I don't really remember that, like, it wasn't really a pivotal point of, oh, this has changed, that's changed. It's always like a looking back. Or, like I said, I've been in and out of boxing for ages. I didn't box for like 2 years after my bout, I think. And then I went back in because the coach that I boxed for, I changed gyms, so he popped me a message, was like, oh, it'd be lovely to see you back in, like one of our female fighters. So I did, and they were like, fucking hell, your quads are huge. And for me, I was like, fucking gold mine, like, yeah, brilliant, that's exactly what I wanted. But then I looked back at photos of me from a time period when I would have seen them last, and I was like, yeah, to be fair, my quads have grown so much since then that I'm not surprised now that they've said that, but I didn't think it beforehand.
Do you struggle to see your own progress?
Yeah.
Do you critique yourself a lot?
Yeah.
In what way?
I think it's a typical, like, girl way in the fitness industry. It's like, oh, I want bigger glutes. All right, okay, we need to eat more then. All right, start eating more. Well, I want my abs back. Like, it's so, like, hit and miss all the time. So definitely critique myself in that way of wanting to be lean, but also wanting the muscle mass there. But then it's also, like you say, where's the point though? Because if you give yourself all those things, you're like, all right, well, what do I want next? It's never like, oh, okay, yeah, that's it. You always like want more.
Yeah, but you can now comfortably look back and you can see how far you've come with your training and your progression and stuff like that. Okay, so did you find then when you started progressing, because obviously you've gone into coaching, were there other people kind of doing it with you? Were other people kind of seeing your progress and then coming to kind of ask you for some help and guidance?
Yeah. So I think like pretty much all of my friends have been into fitness in some way or another. Like Ebony used to dance, Jilly used to box, some of the girls played netball. So all of them have been into fitness in a way or another. But gym wasn't necessarily the thing that we were all into.
Yeah.
That was something that I kind of went into and then
They've copied you.
a couple of the girls, they copied me.
You led the way. You're the messiah of the gym.
No, but yeah, a couple of the girls would come in and they'd go to the gym, and then they would start asking, because I would do as much as I would being in the gym consistently. Then people started to ask, like, oh, you know, what do you do when you go to the gym? And then, yeah, so you do have people asking questions and asking for advice.
Yeah. What do you reckon it was about the gym for you that got you hooked on it? Because obviously you tried things before, but you've now been training for, how many years you've been training in the gym now?
What, from the gym?
No, in a gym, so obviously commuting and stuff like that.
Probably since I was, 14, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, 5-6 years?
Yeah, so you've been training quite a while now.
Yeah.
So what's hooked you? What do you reckon it was?
I don't know. Obviously, it's like the feel-good feeling that you get, but then you can get that from other sports too. I think it's just the constant progression and personal progression. It's because, you know, you can say, oh, all right, well, I want to develop my shoulders. Okay, that's a goal. But then you could also be like, oh, well, I want to up my weights. I want to up my reps. There's so many ways in which you can progress. I think that's probably it. Yeah.
Do you like the fact it's like you and your goals? Because obviously with dance and that before and boxing, you may have had a coach who's like, you know, trying to direct you.
Yeah, of course.
But you're doing it yourself. You're like, all right, I want to work on this. I want to do this in my time. I want to try and develop this here. Like you said, legs, glutes, shoulders and stuff like that. Do you reckon that was probably one of the aspects that works for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Because like you say, you get to choose.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who've kind of tried team sports.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really work for them. And then they come and jump into the gym. It's like, all right, this shit's all right. It kind of works well for me.
Yeah.
So when you first started, did you have any kind of plan when you kind of started getting into it for a little bit?
What plan in terms of
in
goals
terms of the gym
or
training?
Gym?
Yeah, because obviously you wanted to try and get bigger.
Yeah.
You said you felt slim and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So did you come into it, or did you develop a plan over the years? So as you started learning.
Yeah, so I definitely developed it over the years where I'd learnt more. Initially, it was just like, I want bigger legs, bigger glutes, and then it was kind of figuring out how I was going to get there.
Yeah. Instagram workouts, was it?
Instagram workouts, yeah. YouTube, fucking get an ass in 30 days.
Yeah.
They were being done.
6-pack shortcuts.
Yeah, literally doing like 100 squats, like, this will work. And then it's like, no, you need weights.
Yeah.
Like, that is definitely the way forward with like muscular growth, is weighted stuff. And it was like learning that, and then learning that, you know, amazing, you're going to the gym, but if you're not eating enough, you're not fueling yourself enough to grow the muscle. Same with recovery. Like, it was just constantly learning new things and being like, oh, okay, so I was doing that before, that wasn't as effective, now I'm doing this is more effective, and you learn further on again. So yeah, the plan kind of just developed as I did, I guess.
Now you said it's trial and error.
Yeah.
You know, what do I like, what don't I like, what seems to be working, what not seems to be working. And because the gym training's like so vast, you can do so much of it. Like you said, if you wanted to develop a part of your body, sweet, go do that. If you wanted to develop a certain exercise, you can do that.
Yeah, 100%.
So, at what point then did you feel that you were kind of in a really good place with the gym training? Like, you had a plan, had some structure, and do you feel that there was a point like that? I'm seeing some progress on this. Yeah,
so I'd probably say that actually wasn't too long ago.
Really?
Respectively.
Yeah.
Like, I'd say maybe about 2 years ago is where I started feeling that way. Where I was like, okay, I have a training split. I know what that is now. Obviously, when you start, what's a split? What's a spot? You go into the gym, like, oh, spot me. What the fuck are they saying? What does that even mean? Like, so I developed a training split, which I'd put together just from stuff that I'd learnt from personal, like, development and training and trial and error, and then what I'd learnt from looking online and asking people. Started doing that, and then I did get to a point where I plateaued, which a lot of people do, and I was like, weights aren't going up anymore, maybe my form's not quite right, and that's when I got a PT. So as you know, I went with Spencer, so that definitely helped. Again, like, just having someone that been there, done it, has the education, like, you learn so much. I think that's what I love about being a coach myself, is like, however many years, like I said, 5-6 years, 3 to 4 of them, I had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
And being a coach, and you get it because you're a coach as well, you are that shortcut for someone. It's like, you don't have to, trial and error things for 4 years. I'm here with the experience to tell you right now that this, and this, that works. So yeah, probably a point where I got a training split, then I plateaued, then I got a coach.
So that point when you started working with Spencer, then you hired a
Yeah.
personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how long you worked with him for?
It wasn't a very lengthy amount of time, probably like 4 or 5 months, I think.
Yeah, still a good amount of time to learn something.
Yeah.
So in that period then, what changed? Do you feel that was a kind of period of exponential growth and knowledge?
Yeah, so I think my knowledge on my own training capacity changed. So I was like, you know, obviously your first couple of sessions, you kind of let the client run it a little bit, don't you, in terms of like push themselves as far as they think they need to push themselves. So I'd get to, you know, I'd do however many reps I thought I needed to do, and I'd stop, and then Spencer would be like, why have you stopped? I'm like, because I'm done. He was like, well, you're still talking to me, so you're really not, like, the tank wasn't even half emptied.
Yeah.
So, and I really thought, obviously it was.
Yeah.
So I definitely learned that you have way more capacity in you than you think you do, and I think that's a general trend for a lot of people. I find with a lot of my clients initially in the beginning, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's enough weight, and I'm just like, right, I'll slip a couple more weights on there, 2.5s, and they're like, why is it so heavy? I was like, oh, I may have added 10
Yeah, like,
kilos.
did you put more weight on this? Yes, I fucking did.
Like, yeah.
Because you just did 20 reps of that one.
Yeah,
They're like,
literally.
oh, but I won't be able to do 1 more kilo. Yes, you will.
Yeah, definitely. So learning about your training capacity was the best thing that I think that I took away from that.
So it's kind of a bit of a speed boost, kind of where you're at, hiring a coach.
Yeah,
You're
I
a few
definitely
years
think
in,
so.
you were still kind of finding things out, as
Yeah.
we all are, because health and fitness never ends.
Yeah.
But it kind of really just like jumped you forward a good amount.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because then you realise what work rate I should be at, and also is the knowledge of things that I hadn't thought of before. Like you got your eccentric and concentric phases of your movement, time and attention, rather than just bashing reps out and stuff like that. Like learning what little tweaks and stuff like that make a massive difference. Like even doing a squat, your feet position. Like oh my god, that had a massive impact. Now I've got muscle mind connection as well. Like little things like that. Like you don't take too much consideration beforehand. It was then like with having a coach, these were the facts that were put in front of me for me to learn, which was really good.
That's good because you're now doing that for people as well. So when you went through working with Spencer, do you feel that was a big increase for your gym confidence as well?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think even having a coach there with you, you don't think so much about other people too. So you feel it's
like a bit of a safety net.
Yeah, of course. And you think like, oh well, my coach has confidence in me, so maybe I should have confidence in me.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Okay, so at this point right now, where you know like a little bit more, if you give yourself some kind of key training advice for when you started to potentially have sped things up a little bit more, what would you have said?
What, like me
to
now
yourself,
to me initially starting?
Yeah. Some things that kind of come to mind. Key. Obviously, you can't say everything.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of overwhelming stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But what would be some key things you would say to yourself for the starting of the training?
I would say training split. Like, have a plan. Like, each day you go into the gym. Obviously, if you're just starting the gym, it can be quite intimidating, like we said before anyway. It's even more intimidating when you have no plan.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have a step 1. How are you supposed to do step 10?
Yeah.
So, training split, have a plan for each day. So at least, even if you're not confident, you know what you're doing. You know that these are the exercises I'm doing. So that would be the main thing. Not being afraid to chuck a bit of weight on. Just give it a go. Like, failure in the gym, and the gym teaches you this, it's not a bad thing. Like, okay, you didn't do that weight or whatever. Okay, then you analyse it. Like, okay, why didn't I do that? Was it a form thing or was it too much weight? There's literally no harm in it. Like, oh, I didn't get that squat weight that I wanted. All right, drop the weight down a little bit. Like, there's no consequence.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't shy away from a bit of weight. Have a plan and stick to it. Like, consistency, just stick to it. You're not going to see changes, in a week normally. But that's the same in anything. What worthwhile in life changes immediately.
Yeah.
Like, nothing really. And it's the same as, like, if you eat one salad, you're not going to be fucking 2 stone lighter. But it's the same as if you have one McDonald's, you're not going to be 2 stone heavier. So just be consistent. So that's, they would be the 3 main things.
That's funny. You're not the first personal trainer to bring up the word consistency.
Yeah.
It's all
we all
about,
say it.
Yeah, that's one of the things. So what are you trying to do with your training at the moment?
At the moment?
Yeah.
Well, I am training for a high rocks competition in Italy, in Rimini, on the 1st of June.
You go.
So, the training has definitely been focused towards that. So, it's been a combination of doing weight, strength training, as well as running, endurance, and just cardiovascular stuff. So, hybrid training, that's what everyone's saying.
You've come a long way, though. You've come a long way.
Yeah.
It's really impressive. Like, from having low-level confidence in a school gym, and now you're Italy, you want to go and compete in an event abroad in Italy. So High Rocks, what's High Rocks? Give us. I'm an idiot. I don't know what High Rocks is. What is it?
Okay, so High Rocks is a massively trendy thing at the moment that everyone's talking about. It is a competition that is comprised of 8 strength stations with a kilometre run in between. So it is a proper good mix between your strength training and your cardiovascular. So both of those systems have got to be strong.
Yeah, because isn't it you do a K run, station, K run, station.
Your run is your active recovery. So
if
you don't like
I've
running,
seen the videos of people doing it. They're caning it.
Yeah,
they're caning it as they do it. So what are like some of the exercises that you're kind of preparing for?
So it is ski, row, sled push, sled pull, burpee broad jumps, walking lunges, farmers carries, and wall balls. I think.
Because they're all of the High Rockses are the same, aren't they?
All exactly the same. So all the exact same. The weights change depending on what division you're going for. So whether you go on, open, which is anyone, or pro, and then you've obviously got men's, women's, like singles or doubles, and then you've got mixed as well.
What's your strongest, apart from running? What's your strongest station?
My strongest station, or I'd actually say burpee broad jumps.
Okay.
Like I think just from doing grit, and then boxing obviously years ago, and then just a general training, my burpees are quite strong.
And that's 100 meters, burpee broad jumps.
Yeah, 100 meters of burpee broad jumps.
And what's your worst station?
By far the ski. I hate skiing.
Really?
I hate skiing.
I thought you were going to say a sled.
No, actually,
because I know you girls are struggling with the weight of the sled. Yeah,
so we were initially. So originally we were going to go for. We were going to compete in Berlin, which is the weekend just gone. But we couldn't get the tickets we wanted, so the only option was to go for pro.
Okay.
Which, I don't know if you know, but pro weight is 152 kilo sled push. For perspective, I weigh 61 kilos, so that's a lot of weight. And between me and Abby, who I'm competing with, we'd both say that I'm a little bit stronger on the sled push. She's a little bit stronger on the sled pull. So I gave the sled push a go, and I think for the pros you're supposed to do, I'm not too sure on the meterage. I think it's like 50. I may be wrong. Yeah. So push 152 kilos, 50 meters, 25. We're splitting it between us. I moved it about 2, and then I literally collapsed on the floor. I was like, there is no fucking way that I can compete with that. Even the increase in weights on the other stations, we would have handled perfectly fine, but it wouldn't be worth it for how long it would take to move that sled. Yeah, that would be all your time on it. Yeah, so that's why we went for Italy, which is the open division doubles, which is 102 kilo sled push, which is moving smoothly, manageable. So that's fine. Yeah. And how long does that? So 8Ks of run split with 8 stations. How long does that take you usually in your doubles? Have you tried it out? So we did a run through of 0.5k as opposed to a whole k. Yeah. I think that's probably about 2 months ago, and it took us around 40 minutes. Okay, that's good. About that. And that wasn't like fully all out energy. That was, let's see how this feels. Yeah. So you're looking at maybe adding in like an extra 2 minutes per run. Yeah. Yeah. So 500 meters. Yeah. So. Minimum. Yeah. So it just depends on what our running splits are at. So, I ran 21k and my average pace was 5 minutes 40 something. Yeah. So that's what I can maintain for 21k. So it's just trying to think prospectively of like how much of a difference that's going to be, because obviously, like I said, the run is supposed to be your recovery. Yeah. So how they chain it all together at the event, you could probably get like an hour 10. Yeah. We would like to do sub hour 30.
Oh, really?
I think
Okay.
that's quite like, that gives us a lot of, I think that gives us a good margin to get under it.
Yeah. I think you smash that.
I hope so.
So whose idea was High Rocks? Obviously it's a going round, but what made you want to do it?
Well, I actually first heard of High Rocks before it was too trendy, because one of my clients came to me and said that she'd seen it on TikTok. And this was like, I'd never heard of it at this point, and I think being a coach, you stay fairly in date with what's coming around fitness-wise, but I hadn't heard of it. And she said, oh, you know, I really want to do this. This was really cool. I was like, okay, fuck it, we'll give that a go for your next session. I'll do it with you. And that was in, I think that was like the end of, it was either the end of 2022 or the beginning of 2023 that me and my client did that. And then around about Christmas time, a little bit before that, it picked up a lot more. It was a lot more trendy. And a couple of the people that do ACTA, the run club that I go with, had said they were thinking on doing High Rocks as a competition, and, you know, who would want to come with. And a couple of the girls said, oh, fuck it, let's give it a go. Like, let's try something new. And then it just kind of went from there, really.
You excited to do it?
I'm really excited. So I've got 5 weeks now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, final push. And then, yeah, buzzing.
Do you like to train for competition? Because obviously previously you've done the boxing, which is highly competitive, punch each other in the face.
Yeah, true.
So is this you now scratching that competition itch?
I think so, because I've not trained for competition purposes for, well, since my last, well, yeah, it would have been my boxing bout, which was in 2019. So that's a fair few years that I've trained not for a specific goal. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Because it's, you know, like say, there's a target.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Because everything leading up to this, your training was pretty much about aesthetics, wasn't it? Because that's how it started. Legs, bum, and you start talking about shoulders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How are you finding managing aesthetics, training to the way you look, and now adding in performance?
Yeah, it's a hit and miss with that one, because obviously doing a lot of running, naturally, if you don't have enough calories, you can go into a bit of a deficit, you can get a bit of muscle wastage. So, obviously, if you want to build your glutes and be bigger, doesn't really work side by side so well. So, it is a bit between both, but then also training hard for performance, because I'm training at such high intensity, my body is developing, obviously, muscular and being lean, which is what I want aesthetically anyway. So, it honestly depends how I feel on the day. Some days I'm like, this isn't worth it, I hate how I look, and then I'm like, the next day I'm like, wow, that was ridiculous, maybe I was a bit hormonal. So, yeah.
Depends
on the day.
Depends where you're on the month.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
What do you get most fulfillment from? Your performance goals, performance progression, or your aesthetics?
Performance, I'd say. Definitely performance. Like, you get to a point where you're like, you do a session and you get really sweaty and you're like, yeah, that was a really fucking good session. Like, oh, I ran really fast, or my weights were really high. Like, that feels so much better than like, oh, I did this, I think my glutes will grow. So
you actually feel it's the physical act of doing it and achieving it.
Yeah.
Rather than aesthetics, which can be like watching paint dry sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, but with your aesthetics, it's massively about the consistency and just a case of sticking with a plan and following the process, which you don't see immediate result, which doesn't give you that immediate like, yeah, that was good. Whereas, you know, if you squat 100 kilos, you've just squatted 100 kilos. Like and
you can tell everyone about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just said then it varies where you are and how you are feeling about yourself depending on how you look and obviously your performance. What is it you're kind of, do you feel you're like kind of losing your aesthetics now you're going more performance? Personally?
Not massively, to be fair. Me personally, I don't think massively. Just sometimes you get those like body dysmorphia days where you're like, oh.
What does body dysmorphia mean to you? What are those days like?
It's, like I said, like typical female of like, and me and Abby have the same conversations, and me and some of the other girls that are into fitness all have the same conversation, like, oh, I'm feeling a bit fluffy at the moment, feeling a bit bloated, or like, oh, my ass feels a bit small. Like, it's literally just a case of those days sometimes, and then But then if you speak to someone else and one of the other girls say, like, you're fucking ridiculous, what are you on about? So that goes back to just getting out of your own head, I think.
Do you reckon you can get away from having days like that? Or do you reckon there's always going to be something like that?
I think there's always going to be something like that because, you know, as just being a human being, do have self-doubt sometimes and you over-analyse things and stuff like that, like I say, you wouldn't do to other people.
Yeah.
So I think there will always be days like that, but it's more about a case of being mindful of reminding yourself, like, okay, it's just an off day. Like, that doesn't actually mean anything prospectively. Like, if you had a massive chart with a little square of how many days there are in a year and you coloured in, you know, today I feel a little bit crappy about myself, that one little square is not going to make a massive difference to the entire year.
Yeah, those days are normal. We all get them. I get them.
Yeah.
I know girls and guys that have
100%.
those days where, like, you've gone in the gym and you feel much better about yourself, and there'll be periods where it's like, maybe things aren't going too well.
Yeah.
And you start, like, again, doubting what you're doing. It happens for me with looks and performance.
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, what I personally always think about is, like, I've just got to keep turning up and doing those things. Yeah. So, you've obviously, when you've done your weight training, you've gained weight.
Yeah.
Girls with weight gain sometimes is a bit of an issue. How have you dealt with your own weight gain? Has it been a positive, negative for you? Have you had to kind of work with it mentally with a bit of weight gain?
I think, a little bit. The first thing I did was when I told myself that I was going to gain weight, obviously some of which will be fat, some of which will be muscle, scales went away. Yeah. Like, you can take, if you want to, you know, weigh yourself in the beginning and then come back to it in 6 months, a year time, fine, because it is a measurable variable, but not an important one. So unless you're looking for weight loss, and as in you don't care about how you look, you don't care about how you feel, you just want weight loss, which I try and explain to some clients that, you know, what does that mean to you? What even is that? Like, it's literally your mass in relation to the earth.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is.
Gravity's effect upon you.
Exactly. And when you put it like that, you're like, well, that doesn't really mean jack shit then, does it? So, the scales went away and I took progress pictures, which I put into like a PT app, and I just shut that away. I didn't look at that. And just kept adding photos in, like once a month, once every couple of months, and just kept not looking at it. And then in a year's time, I went back and was like, okay, this is my photo from this January, let's look at last January. Because otherwise it would be an obsessive thing, like, okay, let's weigh myself. And then you have to explain to yourself, like, oh, I've put on this weight, or is that fat there? Like, you then overthink it. So it was a case of scales go away, take progress pictures, lock that away somewhere, and then just actually focus on the habits that I was doing, i.e. eating, sleeping, training.
So was the scale number an issue for you at the start?
Yeah.
In what way? Like wanted it to be a certain number, wanted to be in complete control of it?
Well, yeah, I think back before boxing, it was, I want to be skinny. I'm fat, which is ridiculous because I think about it, I was a literal child. Like, why am I thinking about that? Like, it's crazy. And then I did the boxing and I was like, oh, right, now I'm too skinny. So the scales as a whole was always just like, I don't think I ever would have been happy with what number I saw. Because it went from, like I said, being super younger, like, I just want the number to go down. And then it was like, oh, well, I want more muscle mass, which means I want the weight to go up. But then I would see the weight going up and I'd be like, but where's the muscle? And you'd instantly think it was fat. So that's why the scales just had to go away, I think, for me. And I know a lot of women that feel the same. Yeah.
So would that be part of your advice then? Ditch the scales. So girls who want to gain weight, gain muscle. Yeah. Obviously, you know there's going to be body fat.
Yeah.
That's just part of the process.
Yeah.
Ditching the scales.
100%.
If you're obsessing with the
100%.
The numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually some advice that I've said to clients myself, like, put those scales away. Yeah. Because it's not giving you anything.
Yeah. I've taken scales of clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it needs to happen, doesn't it? And like I would put to my clients a question of, all right, okay, so this is a weight that you want to achieve, like, on the scale for whatever reason, whatever that personal reason is to them. Okay, this is the weight that you have in one hand. You look exactly the same, but you are this weight.
Yeah.
Or this is the dream body that you want, but you're the same weight. Which would you pick? And they're like, dream body, 110% dream body. Like, they're so quick to answer that question. I'm like, so why are you looking at scales then? Because you've just told me that it's not important, because you would much rather care about how you look. So why are you even looking at it in the first place?
Yeah. It's just because it's a metric that we all know.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoever thought of it is a bit of an idiot, but I mean, it's just what we all know. It's something we can look at, we can jump on it. Some people don't want to acknowledge what they look like. They don't want to look in the mirror.
No.
They're too afraid to accept like how they are, or too internally embarrassed.
Yeah.
So I feel like the scales, even though it might be detrimental to some people's mental health, it's like, it's just something, a number that they can accept. Or and usually it's people like, oh, I felt my best at 60, or it would be people who would say 9 stone.
Yeah.
Like, shut up with stone.
Yeah.
You don't use stone and pounds, do you?
No, I go with kilos.
Yeah, fucking stone and pounds. Like,
Yeah, I don't like
I hate.
pounds.
I just, anyone who comes to me with stone and pounds, I convert them to kilos.
Yeah.
Just get in the bin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did personal training come into your mind then?
To be fair, what, as in
Being a personal trainer.
being a personal trainer. Okay.
trainer. Because you are now a personal trainer.
I am. That's
AMC
me.
coaching to be 1% better, as it says in your
I don't know
jumper.
if the camera can see that, but I'm
No.
going to pull it out.
I'll put your Instagram on that below. But yeah, so when did personal training, the idea of that come into mind? Was it when you started the gym?
No.
No?
No,
So
it
when did it come in?
Quite late, to be fair. I thought of it and thought about like, oh, I enjoyed it, but obviously being a personal trainer, 9 times out of 10 you are self-employed, which I don't think many people are very educated on when you're younger. So like, you don't really know what being self-employed is or what that means. So it wasn't really something that I looked into because I just didn't really understand.
None of your family self-employed? Immediate
My
family?
stepdad is self-employed,
Oh,
but it wasn't like, just like, he doesn't have a boss. That's all I really knew. Like, he is his own boss. Like, oh, that's pretty cool, and that's pretty much it.
So you didn't get it?
No, not really. I liked being in a gym and working in a gym, so I actually worked at the new Continental and worked at the gym down there for a little while when I'd first started training. Not first started training, but when I was at Derry's Cross.
Yeah.
So that was still quite early on in like my gym and fitness journey, I'd say. But yeah, started working there, but that was being employed and working like a desk.
Were you PT in there?
No, that was literally just working in the gym, making sure that the gym's tidy. They had a pool there, so making sure like the chlorine levels.
General
and stuff like
fitness
that.
instructor.
General,
shit.
yeah. Which is absolutely nothing like being a PT. Which, as a PT, you know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so even at that point, being a PT still hadn't come into my mind. It was just like, oh, I enjoy this, I guess, like just the general environment. It wasn't until after I'd finished college and realised that I didn't want to go to uni for what I had studied in, that being a PT crossed my mind. But again, like I said, self-employed wasn't a very attractive thing to me back then. So at that point, I'd educated myself a little bit more. Not fully, but enough to know that being self-employed was very volatile. So for me, I was like, well, that's no job security. Also, I had people telling me that as well.
I hate those people.
Yeah, so loads of people are like, oh, you don't want to be a PT. You don't want to be
it.
self-employed. Or, you're constantly going to be worrying, blah, blah, blah. So I was
Says
like...
the person who hates their 9 to 5.
Yeah, 100%. So I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But I did want to do that. So I applied to the Navy, to be a PTI in the Navy. Actually got accepted. I started enrolling in that and everything. And then they shut their direct entry for it. So that for me, I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? They offered me a officer job role, which, would have been better money, better qualified in comparison and stuff like that. But I turned it down because I didn't want to go into the Navy just because, like, I wanted to be a PT. Yeah. So I was like, oh, PT and job security, Navy. As soon as you took the PT out of it, I wasn't interested anymore. So yeah, that's probably where it, but kind of like took course initially.
Was that because you just like enjoying your health and fitness so much?
Yeah, I enjoyed it so much, and at that point I'd had Spencer as a PT, so I saw like how you know, other people did it, and, you know, at the time he loved his job as well, and I was like, that's what I want. Like, I want to love my job. And even now I still think this, like, there is nothing worse in my head than doing a job that you fucking hate every day. Fuck
you've had that a lot, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, working in like pubs
slave
and
hours.
clubs. Oh my god.
I don't envy that.
No.
4 a.m. serving shots to fucking people off the road.
Like, don't get me wrong, you meet some amazing people and sometimes you do have good times, but the hospitality industry doesn't have, like, it's not a massively good wage, and I do not, you know, I think in 10 years time, do I want to be working all night and like half the day just to pay for shit? No, I don't. And my passion wasn't there, so, and, you know, for some people it is. Some people love that atmosphere, and in that case, like, yeah, go pursue that because that's what you're passionate about, and, you know, you love your job then. But that wasn't it for me.
So what was your kind of outlook on personal training before you were a personal trainer? Like, what did you think it was?
What, after having a personal trainer myself, or even before that?
Before that. Did you have an idea of it?
Yeah, so I knew, like, what personal training was to a degree, but I didn't know much.
And what did you think it was going to be when you were going into it? Because I can imagine it's probably changed a bit.
Yeah, what, going in and having a coach myself, what I thought beforehand.
Yeah, what did you think being a personal trainer was going to be?
I kind of thought, like, that I would be that person to give the shortcut that I'd wanted.
Yeah.
And not shortcut in terms of, like, you know, what people do, like, silly little, like, keto diets or, like, fucking eating less than 1,000 calories a day to lose weight. Like, not that type of shortcut, but, like, an educational shortcut. Like, when you start the gym, you're asking all these questions, like, how many reps do I do? What exercises do I do? How do I get to my goal? How often is enough to train to see results? Like, you've got 101 questions, and even when you're fully into your fitness, you still probably have more questions, and there's always something to learn. But I thought I could be that person to provide enough education to see results and not, you know, but spend 3-4 years piss assing around trying to learn stuff. I could literally be like, hi, I'm here. I've learned it. I'll help you.
I can be your little shortcut for your health and fitness.
Yeah, like, I can help you. I can help you be accountable, because I think that's a massive thing for a lot of people, like, accountability. It's so easy. If it's just you against you, go, nah, I don't want to go out today. Nah. Do I need to lift more weight? Nah, no one's watching. Like, whereas otherwise, like, I've got a coaching app that I put clients on, and I get them to log things, and they push heavier weights because they know that as soon as they've clicked done, I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why have you lifted that weight? Like, that accountability is there instantly. So, yeah, to be that for someone else as well.
And is personal training any different to what you expected it would be before and then to now?
Yeah, of course. So I do think that I am those things for someone that I thought I was going to be, or at least, you know, I try my best to be. But there's also a lot more, like, building relationships involved, and, you know, going back to the self-employed thing, like, it's not just being a personal trainer, you're running a business. And I think a lot of people are either or in their mindset when they go into it. Like, they'll think, oh, I'm going to be a coach, or, oh, I'm going to be a business owner. Like, you kind of meet different types of people that have either or mindset. You don't really, typically, I think, or I haven't met a lot of people that go into it thinking both. So, yeah, the business side of things, like, I've learned a lot. Like, that's something that I didn't anticipate almost beforehand.
Yeah, you definitely have grasped the business side of it much faster than I did, because I was PTing at Coombe.
Yeah.
So I think I did nearly 5 years up there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, personal training to me was just people turn up, I train them, I give them a little plan they can do by themselves, bit of talk about nutrition, that was it. Obviously, getting to know them, building a relationship, but it was just like, turn up, pay for the session. That was all I had.
Yeah,
it wasn't really much of a business. It was just, I was a bit like a prostitute. pay by the hour, you know. Come and pick Tom up when you want, you know. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now, again, another 5 years on top of that. it's so different. The structure I have with the business, how I bring clients in, how I onboard them, how I take them through the journey, how I then support myself through it, to have it as it is my, I'm completely self-employed.
Yeah.
So it's like, before I couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And now it's at a point where it's like, okay, I actually have earned a whole living off this, and my lifestyle is from this. So I've got to make sure I can serve the clients.
Yeah.
But it also has to serve me.
Yeah, of course. It's your livelihood, isn't it? And, we all do things for the passion of doing it, but in the world we're in, things cost money. Therefore, you need to earn money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get that.
Because we all know there's people who've kind of gone into personal training and they think it's just going to be easy. There's going to be clients there waiting for them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a new trainer here. They're fully booked straight away.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen like that. They walk in their doors and like, shit, all right, I've got to find some clients now. Yeah. So what was that like for you? You just started, you're like, right, I'm going to go down this self-employed route, because it was at the gym group, wasn't it? That was, you weren't doing anywhere before.
No.
So you're now at the gym group. We all know you don't get paid from the gym group.
No.
So you're now, I need to earn some money. Obviously, I know you had a bit of part-time income. Yeah. But you're there like, shit, all right, what do I do?
Yeah, so...
What was that like?
That was really intimidating. 100%. Like, that was so scary, because, like I said, you're being self-employed for the first time. And yeah, like you say, you go in, and I knew that was the reality of it before I went in, which is why I worked at Revs at the time, and I did some other pub jobs as well. So I always had an income of some sort, but like I said, that wasn't where my passion was. So you'd wake up and be like, oh, fucking hell, I've got to go to work. Fuck this. Like, oh, I can't be arsed. So that for me was kind of the fire in the fact of like, I need clients. Like this, we can drop this off, so I need clients. But yeah, you go in and you're like, fuck, no one told me how to get clients. Like, you go in and you're like, yeah, I'm a PT now. Like, oh, this is great. And then people are like...
You think people are just going to be walking over to you?
Yeah, no, you don't know anything, do you? Because no one tells you.
Yeah.
So you go into it and you're like, oh, I'm a PT. And people are like, oh, how's work going? Like, oh, fuck, like... I've got one client. How'd you get them? Oh, it's, my mum's friend. Like... Was
that it? Was your...
No, it wasn't. I was just using that as an example. But, I started PTing some of my friends.
Yeah.
Just to be on the gym floor, and so then people see you being a PT. And then I was lucky that from working the hospitality jobs that I'd worked, I did have good people skills.
Yeah.
So I would go and I would talk to people, I would try and offer advice, but you still have to build up the confidence to do that. You have to be... It's hard because you have to almost be sure of yourself. Like, sometimes you'd have like, I think it's called imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
When you're like, do I have the knowledge to be telling people to do stuff? And you're like, well, yeah, obviously you do, but you think, oh, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? So it's having that confidence to give people advice and back yourself and be like, no, I do know what I'm talking about.
You do. You're the qualified one.
Yeah,
You're the one that's there in shape.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the one that's done what they want to do.
Yeah.
You can show them.
Yeah.
So many people like get that imposter syndrome thing, and I totally get it. But you are the one that's there to help them.
Yeah.
It's just like, go over, sell yourself, back yourself 200%.
Yeah, of course.
And get it done. So, obviously, with talking to people and asking people if they want coaching, it comes with, you get new clients.
Yeah.
But it also comes with rejection.
Of course, yeah.
How did you deal with your first rejections? How was that on you? Do you remember?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I was quite lucky in terms of that I've never really had someone give me a hard no, like in the beginning. And to be fair, even now, it's never been like no, personal training. It's always just been like, oh, financially, I can't afford it right now, or, it's not really for me and stuff like that. It's never been too harsh. Yeah. But, yeah.
People like to be nice. People aren't dicks.
Yeah, of course,
which
is good.
Fuck off. I'm not going to pay you.
But it is obviously like almost like a reality thing. Like you get, I mean, you probably find the same. You get 100 inquiries, but you get 10 people sign on. So it's just a case of like not assuming that every inquiry is a client, and you will have a lot of people, or I've had a lot of people, and I know other coaches that have had a lot of people, like people love to ask things, but they don't want to pay for it. Mm-hmm. Like it's a bit, you have like old school friends who are like, oh, I'd love to hit a session with you. It's like, well, actually, this is my livelihood and people pay for my time. So, no, I've not seen you in 5 years. We're not hitting a session together. You want to catch up, we can go for a coffee. Like, you wouldn't you wouldn't go to a supermarket and be like, can I just have these bananas for free? Like, is that alright? Like, well, no, obviously it's not.
Yeah.
So,
So that'd have to be a little. That's again part of being sure of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, my time is now worth something.
Yeah.
Before, when you were just training, yeah, cool,
Yeah.
But now you are aware you're trying to make a business of it, and you need it, like I said, for your livelihood.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, I know you're a mate, but like when it's my time in the gym, I'm trying to make a living from this. So like, if you do want that help and support, happy to give it to you.
Yeah, of course.
But it does come at a price.
Yeah, like, I mean, obviously there's like the basic advice that you can give people, and if they ask questions like, oh, do you think this exercise is effective for X, Y, and Z, you can be like, yeah, cool, or actually this is probably better. Like, you know, snippets of your time in that sense, you know, if you're passionate about it, like, I don't mind giving people advice and stuff like that, but no, I'm not gonna train with you every day for a week for, you know, for free, because that's my job.
So how have you found then going from coaching yourself
to
coaching other people? What have you noticed is different?
I don't really know. I think it's more just a case of like more planning and being more firm with what you are doing. Because obviously, like I said, with yourself, you can be like, oh, I'm going to do this today. I don't want to stick to plan, it's fine. Whereas you're the person enforcing that.
Yeah.
And just having a bit more research into what you're doing. Because if I was training myself, you can kind of play around with things, and if you're wasting your own time, you're wasting your own time. Whereas with a client who's paying money, I'm like, in my head, I think, well, I want what I'm doing for them to generate results.
Yeah.
It's not really a case of like, oh, we might try this, we might try that. I'm like, okay, well, this is a movement that I know works. And yes, there could be variations of each movement for each individual, but you understand the basic movements of like, is it a hip hinge movement? You know, is it squatting? Like, stuff like that.
Okay. And what about the expectations that you put on clients? Because obviously when you first start out, you may think, oh, I can do all this. You know, I do all the stuff in the background. I train myself. I do all my nutrition stuff, my meal planning, my sleep. I'm good with all that.
Yeah.
These people will probably be the same, right?
Yeah, see, that's where, that's where I think you have to be, like a good people person in that sense. Like, you have to be understanding and considerate that, like, you know, some of my clients that have children or they're single mums, like, no, they can't go to the gym 6 times a week. They have to pay for childcare, and no, they can't afford to have steak every night of the week because they've got to feed themselves and their kid, and they're not eating steak, they're eating chicken nuggets. Yeah. So you have to be way more understanding in terms of each individual client's like, it's personal training for a reason. Everyone is different, they want different things, they have, you know, different availabilities in their life. Yeah. So I think it was just, for me, like, just being considerate, and the more people you coach, like different types of people you coach, the more you kind of learn about people and what they can take on. But also, again, it just goes back to the fact of just ask questions. Like, say to them, do you think you can manage that? Or is this becoming unmanageable for you? Or it's literally just that element of communication. And that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah, because as personal trainers, a lot of people go into it expecting a lot of people to be like them.
Yeah.
But you're a personal trainer because you were that next level above.
Yeah.
You know, you love, your passion is for health and fitness. You live and breathe it, and you want to show other people to be at that level.
Yeah, of course.
But you start working with people that are level 1, and you're at level 20.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't expect people to be like you. So it is, you kind of have to continue to bring yourself back down to level 1 again, and just to relate. Yeah. Because the level you're at isn't relatable. Yeah. Like, personal trainers, I don't think are relatable. We can train whenever we want.
Yeah, of course. Like,
whenever we want.
Yeah. You're in the gym. you got, earlier today I had a 3 hours, so I was like, yeah, alright, I'm going to do a back session. Yeah. Didn't have to go anywhere. Yeah. Didn't, just had to change my leggings. Yeah. That was literally it. And then, got a client later, changed back into work clothes. I didn't even leave the building. Whereas, like some of my clients, like I said, that are mums, it's like, all right, well, I've got work meetings all day. I've got to pick the kids up at 3. Where am I fitting this in? So yeah, you're very right in the fact that we aren't relatable in that sense. And it's, again, like you say, you've got to remind yourself of that. And so, you know, sometimes you have to remind other personal trainers of that as well, because, you know, we all talk, sometimes people are frustrated and stuff like that, or you have a bad day and it's like, oh, my client's not following their food plan, oh, so frustrating. Yeah, it's frustrating, but you just have to remind yourself that, you know, you can't be 100% of the time.
How do you deal with that frustration? Like, what are some things you do to deal with that frustration, to be like, all right, I need to make sure that they continue to work, but I need to kind of do things to their level. So what are some things you maybe will implement with clients?
Making things as digestible as possible. So I read a book ages ago, and it's such a great book, I think, called Atomic Habits I think it's by James Clear, and he talks about habit stacking, for example. So that is the concept of doing something you really enjoy in relation to something you need to do. So going to the gym, for example, for some people it's not like a fun thing that they want to do, but let's say going out for a coffee is. So like making things digestible to my clients in the sense of like, okay, well, you need to hit for your plan and your goals 3 sessions a week, one of which is with me, 2 of which is by yourself. The one with me, you have the accountability because you're paying me to be here, and also you know that if not, I'm on the phone like, get your ass down here now, like, you need to be here. But the sessions by themselves, they don't have as much accountability, because I can text them and say, you didn't log your sessions today, but I'm also not going to chase them into the gym. So it'd be a case of like, okay, well, this is a session you're going to hit. The session that they're hitting by themselves is the one that they most enjoy. So if someone hates legs, they'll be doing a leg session with me, but if they love upper body, they can do that by themselves because they're more motivated to get there anyway. So they're doing the upper body session and then they don't particularly enjoy it, but they love coffee. So like, okay, well, what you can do is you're going to hit your session at 9 a.m, you're going to finish at 10, and then you're going to go straight to Starbucks. Treat yourself. You're going to have a coffee, and that fits in with your macros and stuff like that, so you're not guilty either. So yeah, making things as digestible as possible.
Okay, so what kind of clients do you work with? What are, like, is there any kind of, you know, across the plan, like goals that people kind of want? Do you kind of get like a set type of client that comes to you?
Do
you have a niche?
Do I have a niche?
Mainly women from my looks.
Mainly women, yeah.
You've got a few guys dotted in there.
Yeah, so mostly I would say like younger to middle-aged females. That would be my niche, which is obviously quite a big niche anyway. I actually work with a lot of women, especially revolving around confidence, which obviously links quite closely into how I felt initially in my own gym journey, and also muscle growth. They're the 2 main things that I say I work with my niche of women. Obviously I do have a couple men that I train that are outside of that, most of which still are looking at muscle growth. Others are looking at just general fitness education and how to maintain and prolong their health. So I've got one client who currently does loads of marathon running and stuff like that. So when he comes to me, we do a lot of strength-based stuff, especially around like his knees, his ankles, stretching, stuff that can be, you know, a bit of a detriment from running. So it's the recovery side of that.
Okay, so how do you go about then developing a client's confidence as a coach?
As a coach, okay. So a lot of it is just, first of all, the education side of things, because even if they don't have 100% faith in themselves, they know that they've been taught and educated something, so that is correct. That already instills some confidence in you when you know you're doing something right.
I should trust Ava.
Yeah, have faith in me.
I say that to clients, like, if you know I've told you it, and you still don't believe it, just trust the fact that I've told you it.
Yeah, exactly.
Until you can convince yourself of it.
Yeah, of course, like believe that. Well, I've told you this, and you must have some faith in me because you're paying me to be here. And if you have no faith in me, which I have had clients before that have been like that, and that relationship obviously deteriorated very quickly. So, yeah, you have faith in me, otherwise you wouldn't pay me to be here. So, if in doubt, trust the fact that I've told you it.
If in doubt, trust Ava.
If in doubt, trust in me. So, yeah, that would be the main thing. And just kind of like encouraging them to communicate how they feel. So with women as well, especially, you know, you get in your own head like, oh, do I look like I need to lose weight? Do I look like I need to do more shoulders? Like stuff like that. And I do encourage my girls to communicate that to me. Like, do you think, you know, just to say, do you think I need to do more of this? Like, ask me that. Because as a coach and, you know, your friend to a degree, because you do build a kind of friendship in that relationship, because obviously you're not going to be harsh and horrible to your client, otherwise, well, some people are, but I can't imagine their business stays around very long. They're just harsh and horrible to us. Yeah, true. Get a lot of I hate you messages.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can't make it up the stairs, I really hate you. Sorry guys. It's for a good cause.
It is.
But yeah, just having that element of communication and just being like, you know, you look great, believe you look great. And also reminding them, like I wish I did to myself or had someone to do for me, get out of your own head.
Yeah.
Like, just like little things like, oh, this bit of cellulite, what are you on about? The lighting's changed and it's not there anymore. Like, just little things like that.
Okay, so then muscle growth for your girls.
Yeah.
What do they want to develop?
Most of the time, it's the booty.
I knew the answer.
The glutes.
Shock.
It's the glutes. But, to be fair, a lot of girls want toned arms as well.
Okay. So you've got newbie girls coming in.
Yeah.
That want to develop themselves
in
terms of their muscle mass.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What's the magic?
So,
what's the plan?
Consistent, heavy weight training. That's the main thing. You want glutes, you got to train them. And unfortunately, I found like a lot of the girls and myself, glutes are hard to grow. You know, don't particularly know why. Maybe it's because the muscle-mind connection's not there as much. I don't know. But yeah, consistently heavy weight training for the muscle group that you want to grow. And fuel. You need food. You need protein over anything else. Like, it's just a reminder that, you know, if you're eating less than 1,000 calories a day for an average female, that is not enough. So reminding them, you need to eat, you need to train heavy and consistently. That's the main things. Okay,
let's do a little case study then.
Go on.
I'm a new girl coming to the gym. I maybe got a little bit of experience of training. Okay, I'm in my 20s. I want to develop a little bit of muscle mass. I can go to the gym 3 times a week.
Yeah.
What would be some protocols you would suggest for this individual?
What in terms of like?
Yeah, just like a summary. You don't need a fucking
right
in depth. Right, you need to be doing it.
Whatever
you need.
You've said you can commit to
3 times a week. 3 times a week, yes.
Okay, so that is your non-negotiable. You are going to the gym 3 times a week. You've committed to that. That is
on it.
You're doing it. 2 of those are going to be your lower body days, and you are not going to do it half-assed because if you're so passionate about your goals, why are you not putting all your energy into it? So 2 of those leg days, you're hitting it hard.
Will be some like staple lower body movements then, because I want to get all this going.
Cool.
Ava, come on.
Okay, well, What
are the go-tos for AMC coaching?
Okay, so Romanian deadlifts, RDLs, they are in there. You're doing them. They're heavy. If your hands hurt, get some grips because your hands are going to...
Get some grips and get a fucking grip.
Yeah, literally, get some grips and get a fucking grip because your hands are going to go before your hamstrings and your glutes are. So don't let that stop you. Get some grips. And I literally have a locker in the gym full of grips and hip thrust pads and everything. So none of my girls can be like, oh, I can't do it. Yeah, you can. There's a locker in there. You know the passcode. Get in there. Go. Good. So, yeah. RDLs 100%, they need to be in there. Hip thrusts, there's different variations of them. You know, you can do it on a glute drive, you can do them dumbbell, barbell, so everyone's different in terms of what they prefer, but hip thrusts, they've got to be in there. Because they work the glutes, whether you like them or not. I mean, I don't really like them, to be honest, but they work, so they're in the plan twice a week. And what else would I put in? Hyperextensions, making them glute biased, so making sure that your form's correct to target the glutes, so rounding the upper back. They're in there. They're definitely in there. And then obviously if you want to get your quads going as well, you need some type of I love it. Some type of quad dominant movement. I normally put some variation of a squat in there.
Nice.
But yeah, big compound movements. You got to have them in there.
Don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid of freaking lifting heavy ass weight. But Ava, what if I get too bulky?
Okay. why do you think you're going to be bulky though? That's the first thing I ask.
I'm going to be lifting weights. Of course I'm going to get bulky, aren't I?
No. No. That is something that you get asked a lot. I'm sure you get it asked a lot with females as well. Like, oh, but I'm going to be massive. Like, start training in the week for, start training. Do it for a couple of weeks. How fucking hard you have to train to be bulky is insane. Yeah. Like, some of these, first of all, you never really see massive women trotting around. Like, you just don't. We're not built that way genetically, unless you're literally jabbing something up your ass. Yeah. Like, you're probably not going to get massive.
You got the bodybuilders.
Yeah, but look at these these women that people are referring to that are bulky. Look at an insight of how they fucking train. Like, they are literally a fucking weapon, training stupid amounts, eating stupid amounts, jabbing their ass as well.
The average gym goer mum is not going to touch anywhere near what they're going to be doing in terms of their training and their routine. So it's like nothing ever to worry about. You're not just going to become it unless you are a 0.0111% genetic freak. Yeah. But you're still going to put the work in.
Yeah, exactly. So.
I mean, think about it, like, you've been training for a good amount of time now, and the goal has been to get bigger. Yeah. You're not bulky.
No. And that's exactly what I say to them. Like, well, I have it all over my Instagram, how I train. I'll openly talk about how I train and that I lift heavy and all this kind of stuff. And then I'll put to them, do you think I'm too bulky? No, of course not. Well, why would I pay you for thought that? Right, so why do you think you're going to get bulky from what you're doing? Yeah. You're training 3 times a week. I'm training 9 times a week. And let's say we're doing the same thing. Yeah. So surely I should be fucking She-Hulk right now. So it's just kind of educating that opinion, I think.
Okay, so what's this individual then so we've got this case study.
Yep.
I'm training 3 times a week. Yep. I'm doing 2 lower body days. Yep. There's some glute and quad movements in there as well. Yep. I've got an upper body day as well. Yep. What am I doing outside the gym? So, like, nutrition, sleep. What's other aspects of the routine looking like? What would you recommend?
Well, obviously for that individual, you need to make sure that if they're looking to, put on muscle mass and stuff, making sure that you're in a calorie surplus. So we have to sit down and work that out, just to make sure that they're eating, a bit more than what their energy output is. Yeah.
Grab your laptop, go online, calorie calculator, .com.
Yeah,
you can work it out.
You can easily
drop one of us a message.
Yeah, I don't know any PT that would turn around and be like, nah, I'm not working that out. We can literally just get on a phone. Yeah. It takes 2 seconds. Whoosh, send it off to you.
And what's the surplus again?
So a surplus is eating calories above what you need to maintain where you're currently at. So if for my lifestyle and the way that I live and just everything in general, really, my maintenance was 2,000 calories, hypothetically, and I wanted to gain muscle. Even just a slight increase of 2,200 calories a day. That's, you're in a 200 calorie surplus daily then. So obviously this is all hypothetical, but you just need to make sure you're eating enough to grow. So you don't want to be burning 2,000 calories a day and then eating 2,000 calories a day, because that, just flatlines you. That's exactly the same. You need to make sure you're eating a little bit more so your body has the energy to grow, basically. Yeah.
But I'm afraid of eating. I don't want to eat too much. Yeah. I see food as a bit of an enemy. Yeah. What are you saying to someone like that? Because they come across the table all the time.
Yeah. It's super common. It's just, again, going back to the fact of, like, well, you've come to me for my advice and for my help, and I need you to have faith in me and the fact of this works. Like, this works. You need the food, because if you're afraid of food, and eating more, the likelihood is you haven't done that previously, and evidently that's not worked for you because you're seeking my advice. So what you're doing does not work. So yes, you may be afraid of it, but you need to step out of your comfort zone and give it a go. And if it still doesn't work, which I've not had that experience yet, then all right, try another avenue. But it does work.
Food is fuel.
Food is fuel. Exactly.
And again, trust in Ava. Yeah. If you've hired someone as a coach, you're paying them. You keep saying it. If they're coming to you and paying you. Yeah. And I'm giving you this advice. Yeah. trust it.
Yeah.
Because you still get the people who do second guess it.
Yeah, of course you do. And like I said, I've been very fortunate. I've only ever really had 1 or 2 clients in the past that haven't trusted in me to take the advice that they're paying for.
What's that experience been like?
Honestly, awful. As a coach, it is not a nice experience because, like you say, sometimes you get that imposter syndrome anyway. So then to have someone in front of you paying you for your time and your services, but then still doubting you, it's frustrating as anything. It's so frustrating because they're questioning everything you're doing, but you're just like, well, why are you working with me if you don't trust in me? Which is fine because you're your own person and you're allowed to feel that way.
Yeah.
But then don't work with me because you're not willing to take the advice that you're paying for.
Did this individual have very kind of stuck in their way beliefs about health and fitness already?
Not particularly. I think they just thought that they knew more than I did, maybe.
Okay.
Which is fine. And I knew that that would be a case of some individuals at least going into it because obviously I am young, I'm a female. Sometimes that's enough for people to be like, do you really know what you're talking about? So it's just not being too offended by it. But yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who does suffer with imposter syndrome? Doesn't matter in the industry.
Okay.
Having been someone who has dealt with it.
Yeah. I don't know really. I think it's just a case of maybe speaking to individuals around you to kind of reinstall that faith in yourself, because you know sometimes you can't help but feel like, oh my god, like this is a big adult job. This is a big adult job and people are paying me for my time.
I don't know about you, I feel like a child in there all the time. I feel like it's a big playground.
It is a big playground. It is. Like that's literally what it is. So yeah, just maybe just talking to people and just if you're questioning yourself, maybe put that question to someone else that is more experienced. Like I know that I've asked you about things before. I've asked other people in the gym before, you know, oh, this is what I think. I'm not sure if I'm right. And then they say the same thing as you, and it helps to just kind of keep that imposter syndrome at bay a little bit because your, you know, opinions and stuff like that are aligning with people that are in the industry that you view as a professional. Yeah. So you're like, okay, then that's good that we're on the same wavelength. Yeah,
I know sometimes it's difficult to get your head out of it because we have had a few of those conversations, whether it's bits in your business, your own health and fitness and stuff like that, where I'm like, Eva, you're right at this shit, you know? Fucking charge more, do this. Yes, you do the right thing. Fucking go for it. It's just like, it's I think it's good to have someone else to tell you to do it as well. Yeah. And going back to what we said before, it's like, you're the one that's got the qualification for it. Yeah. You're the one that's done the training. Yeah. You're the one that's achieving the things that these people want. Yeah. These people are actively seeking you out. Yeah. It's like, cool. Yeah. No, I am the authority here. Yeah. I know more than them. Yeah. You know? Again, if I want to go speak to someone, my jiu-jitsu coach, he knows more than me about jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I go to him. Yeah, and I understand that, you know, he is the black belt. That's the authority thing right there. You're the one with the qualifications, the clientele already, currently got people paying you. You're the one with the results. Yeah. You know, you're the one that's absolutely crushing it and doing that shit already. Nearly 2 years as a personal trainer. Yeah. What have been some of your favourite bits so far? Some of my favourite bits so far? Bits that stand out to you. Some of like my clients achieving their big goals. So, one of my clients, she's quite a petite female. I think she weighs about 47 kilos at the moment, which is tiny. And for her height and her frame and everything, like that's a really healthy body weight. But obviously, it's really petite. So like hitting some big goals, like she hyperextends like 40 something kilos. That is her. Yeah. That's literally her weight. So like pound for pound, strong as fuck. Yeah, so strong. So, like, clients achieving goals like that, that's amazing. And one of my clients, like, one of her goals was to wear a pair of shorts. And, you know, the day that she came in wearing a pair of shorts, honestly, I was just so overwhelmed with, like, seeing the personal progress. Yeah. So, like, just little occasions like that, they always stand out to me. Like, I don't think there's any, like, you know, even over the 2-year period, nearly, I still remember all the big achievements that my clients make, so all of them, they're the main things that stick out. And how does it make you feel as a coach seeing these moments and being there on that journey with those individuals?
Oh, just so overwhelmed with how happy I am about it, because like, you literally see how someone flourishes when they're becoming the version of themselves that they want to be.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm very lucky that all the clients I have, they genuinely do appreciate me as a coach, and they tell me all the time, like, you know, thank you so much for helping me. So like just stuff like that it's what keeps me in the job. Like obviously every job has stresses, but these moments are what make me overlook that.
Yeah.
So like one of my clients, when she first came to me, I knew of her beforehand and we were friends loosely beforehand, but when she first came in, she was so like incredibly meek, like so quiet, so timid, didn't want to go over to the weight section even with me. And you know, 12 weeks later, she's bobbing and jumping around in the gym, doesn't care what anyone thinks of her, like lifting heavy weights, and just she's such a happy, bubbly person. Like she's got all of her personality back. And just seeing those type of transformations in people, like, yeah, it's just incredible.
Yeah, it just continues to like reinforce it for me, like why I love this.
Yeah.
When you see those moments, whether it's someone sending you a photo, new outfit that they've put on, something that they've achieved.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know a bunch of us are doing like the run this weekend.
Yeah.
You're doing it as well. It's like those kind of breakthrough moments of people where they're reaching out new levels, challenging themselves, because we know what that's done for us in our own confidence and health and fitness.
100%.
Like you can just it takes you back to the moments you've had those breakthroughs, and it's like it's just every day you just wake up like, right, there's going to be more breakthroughs with these clients today, and you just continue to kind of push them even further. So where do you see yourself taking coaching? Because you're still relatively new to it.
Yeah,
so
see,
like,
that is a question that I don't have an answer to.
Yeah, neither do I.
Which is, it can change so much, can't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm lucky enough that there's so many different opportunities and paths that I can take. And, you know, a lot of people have those same opportunities with coaching. Like, doing coaching at the moment, I've recently opened up just online coaching as well.
Nice.
So that's another avenue that I can go down. I mean, for me personally, I don't think, you know, it may change in a couple of years' time, but I don't think I'll ever go down just online, because I really love the face-to-face interactions and that relationship that you build. So I don't think that will ever be the avenue that I go down. But doing that as well as face-to-face is really fulfilling, because, you know, some people, can't afford how expensive in-person personal training can be. So the online is a really good alternative to that, but you still check in, you're still accountable, you still get to see all their wins and stuff. It's just over a screen. So you still have that relationship and interaction, it's just not on a face-to-face level. So, you know, I could go down that route, or, you know, I could go fully self-employed and not do gym shifts. I could do that, or I could go down a manager's route.
How far away do you reckon that is?
I don't know. It's just like, you just never know, do you? Just
So
never
you
know.
could do it?
I don't know. I think I would be too worried about how volatile business is. So I'd have to make sure that I maybe put some financial stability in place beforehand for that to be achievable. But I don't know. I don't even know if that's the route I want to go down. I don't know if I'd want to do something like a managerial role and then personal train as well, which obviously you'd have a salary and you'd be self-employed, so you get that job security that sometimes can worry you.
Yeah.
Or worry me anyway. But yeah, I really don't know, because there's so many different ways you can take it. Like, only this year did I start the online, but I also started doing female only group classes with Abby, so that's another thing.
Lightbird.
Lightbird,
It should just be Lightbird.
But everyone thinks it's Lightbird. Everyone thinks it's Lightbird. But no, it's Lightbird. But yeah, we should just change the name at this point. Because everyone thinks it's Lightbird.
Just commit to it now.
Yeah, I know.
Commit to Lightbird.
I know. But yeah, so we started that, which is great and we love. And, you know, it's just these group of girls that have come together, strong, bubbly females that are lifting weights. Like, it's great. You see them develop and build relationships. So, you know, there's a group training side of things as well. Like, just the possibilities are endless. There's so many different ways. But I just know that I would like to stay within the fitness industry. That's pretty much all I know right now.
Just staying there for the wins for the people.
Yeah.
That's good, because you have done a lot in the 18 months you've been doing it. Like I said, you've gone from not doing any of it.
Yeah.
Okay. One-to-one coaching.
Yeah.
building up quite a good level of clientele, good community from what I can see.
Yeah.
You're now doing your online coaching and you've got this group stuff going as well. I know you go to other gyms and you've got that bit of community with other people there as well. So you are very confident now with like, firstly, you were like intimidated PT and in the gym.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you were intimidated being in the gym.
Yeah.
Then you were intimidated again being in the gym as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
But now you seem to be at a point where you're flourishing quite nicely because you're confident to go to other gyms.
Yeah.
You look like you gave like a seminar at the other gym the other day up at Body World when you were teaching that group of people and that as well.
Yeah, so me and Abby went up and trained some of the guys at Body World under Operation Enrichment. So knowing some of the people from that group, they popped me a message and were like, look, we want to be absolutely thrashed at this session, like, got any ideas, do you want to coach us? And I was like, fuck it, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So these people really wanted to work hard, which I love. So put a session together and I'll be honest, it was disgusting. Like I planned it and it was gross. So it was, because that's like a hybrid training style that they're interested in. That's the kind of trend that I went with.
Yeah.
And there was a warm up and then all it was 8 circuit stations that were comprised of like 3 exercises and it's about 5-minute rounds, so it's about 45 minutes workout, which doesn't seem that long, and then you add a little bit of a finisher and a warm up, and on a whiteboard it looked easy, and then when they did it they were absolutely thrashed and I was buzzing. Maybe I'm a bit sadistic, but I love that.
That's good though. That's
so,
good though. You're reaching out and doing these things and working with other people and again reinforcing that you're good at what you do. Yeah,
like me and Abby got the feedback from that and it was like, that was the hardest session I've done, like that was amazing. And like you say, you get the feedback of, well, I planned that. Like I planned that and they liked it, they got the result that they wanted. I do know what I'm doing. So I think that's another reason why when I've been asked to do stuff like that, and I do say because it reinforces the fact of I know what I'm doing. And if you get any type of criticism, take it on board. It's a learning curve. Like you learn more, and then you can be better and provide a better service. There's no loss really there.
Have you got any more plans of things like that coming up?
Not at the moment, but I would be open to doing more.
Yeah. Heard it here first. Hit her up. So, favourite upper body exercise? What is it?
Pull-ups.
Pull-ups?
It is pull-ups.
Why?
Because I think as a female, like you just feel like such a badass doing a pull-up.
Yeah.
So, and I know so many females and so many people in general, to be fair, that are like, oh, I'd fucking love to be able to do a pull-up. That's so fucking cool. So, and I was one of those people, and now I can do pull-ups. So pull-ups.
Smash it. Favourite lower body exercise?
Probably Romanian deadlift, because big heavy compound movement. I've built my weights up so I feel strong when I do it and I know it works.
Happy days. Long run or short run?
That depends on where I am. Outside, long run. If I'm on a treadmill, short run, because I hate running on a treadmill. So that would be sprints.
Treadmills are boring.
Yeah, so boring.
Go-to meal for gains?
Alright, okay, so definitely fillet steak. It's cooked rare. I'm not arguing.
You are a red meat girl, aren't you?
I'm a red meat girl. I never used to be. I was a pescatarian for 5 years.
Yeah.
So ate nothing
Sad
but
times.
fish. Yeah, that was a very sad time in my life. No wonder I was so unhappy. But so I'd go fillet steak, scrambled eggs, and then probably some broccoli on the side.
Look at you, bodybuilder.
Yeah, elite.
That's good.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Have you enjoyed this?
Yeah, I have actually.
It's been good to have you on it.
Thanks.
The nerves at the start, you seem more relaxed coming into it.
Yeah, I'm more relaxed now. At first I was like, oh my god, what's going on? What questions are you going to ask me?
So what can people expect from AMC coaching going forward then? What's there? Anything coming up? Or how can people work with you?
Okay, well, people, what do you mean? How can people
work with you?
Get hold of me, work with me.
What do you offer?
What do I offer?
Offering right now?
Right now?
Someone's in your DMs right now, Ava. What can people buy from you? What's the service?
Online, in person, group classes.
Brilliant.
There.
I'll put your stuff below. Brilliant. Well done. Smashed it, girl. Thanks. Brilliant. Final last words. 3,
no,
2, 1. Ciao, ciao.